Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go ahead and get our program started. My name is Mark Turner. I'm the president of the Gilroy Chamber of Commerce. I'm also on the board of the Gilroy Police Foundation. It's an honor to be with you this morning and to honor the heroes that we have in our presence today. I'd like to certainly thank Chief Smithy for being here. Glad that he was able to find a ride. It's been a little bit embarrassing, the fact that he has to chase criminals down in an Uber. I found out recently, oh, Chief, I got a million of them. I found out recently that the Chief is a big fan of country western music. The reason being, when you play the songs backwards, you get your wife back, your dog back, and your truck back. So with that, we would like to get started here. Today, we have the honor of being in the presence of real-life heroes. While society tends to hold up high-paid athletes as modern-day heroes, I think we all recognize that the real heroes don't hit home runs, throw touchdowns, or shoot three-point shots, but instead, real heroes race toward danger while others flee from it. We often hear names like Curry, Durant, Bumgarner, and Posey, and we hear of their heroic efforts. Well, today you're going to hear names like Thomas Cooper, Mike Matheson, Nicholas Carlin, Chris Maselli, and Jason Greathead. While they will receive individual recognition for their efforts, they represent a community of men and women who have pledged an oath to protect and to serve at all costs, even at the cost of their own lives. That kind of commitment makes these men and women real heroes. Let's hear it for them today. As we get started, I'd like to recognize some individuals who are here today. Gilroy Mayor Roland Velasco. Mayor, were you taking a picture of me? Here we go. How's this? Is that good? I'll take a couple 8x10s of that one if you don't mind. Councilmember Kat Tucker. Councilmember Dan Harney. Is he here? Let's hear it for him anyway. What the heck? Councilmember Marie Blankley. City Administrator Gabe Gonzalez. Our Sheriff, Lori Smith. The Executive Director of the Gilroy Welcome Center, Jane Howard. Is Jane here? The Executive Director of the Gilroy Garlic Festival, Brian Bowe. And from the Gilroy Police Foundation, Mary Donahue. We would now like to present the Gilroy Police Department Honor Guard for posting of the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as Rochelle Castaneda sings the national anthem. You may be seated. To do the invocation, I would like to introduce Pastor Malcolm McPhail from New Hope Community Church. Pastor McPhail is also the chaplain of the Gilroy Police and Fire Departments.
Good afternoon. Today, some of us are going to be celebrating success. A successful mission, a successful rescue, a successful incident that took place. And yet all of us are familiar with failure. All of us are familiar with the disappointments that life throws our way, even in our line of work as first responders. Today I want to encourage you to keep fighting the good fight. I want to encourage you to continue to walk out your calling in a broken culture that sometimes throws rocks back at us. Yet at the same time, that calling that each of you have and have exhibited, even to the point of laying your lives at risk, is continuing to motivate you and to spur you on to the works that you do. So thank you for that gift. Thank you for that calling. And may I encourage you to keep fighting the good fight. And always remember these words that were written by a famous Prime Minister, Winston Churchill, that success is not final, that failure is never fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Let's bow our heads in prayer, can we? Lord, I pray over each of our first responders in South County. I pray that you'll watch over them, keep them safe, keep a hand of protection, your right hand of protection on each of their lives. Be their front guard and be their rear guard. I also pray for their families, spouses, children, and extended family members, that you will continue to watch over them as well as their concerns and cares for the loved ones that are serving on the front lines. We thank you, Lord, and we also remember the food and ask your blessing on the food. Take all the calories out. We ask that in your name. Amen.
I would like to now introduce and ask you to please welcome to the stage the president of the Exchange Club, Lisa Fleming.
Thank you. Welcome all. All right. Exchange Club of Gilroy is America's Service Club. Who are we? We are a nonprofit community service organization. We serve people in need, promote crime prevention, serve senior citizens, recognize the military and public service providers, such as what we are doing here today. We promote Americanism and youth programs. Our national project is the prevention of child abuse. Our local Exchange Club here was formed in 1990. We are 33 members strong and growing. Each member of Exchange holds near to their heart 3 core values: family, community, and country. Commitment to family is interpreted not only as one's family needs, but also those of all American families. Strengthening families with a focus on youth is addressed in many ways through Exchange Club's mission. This year, our club decided to promote the spirit of Americanism and patriotism among our youth. We held our first annual Americanism essay contest. We were anxious to find out what patriotism means to our 8th grade students. They were asked to write a 350-word essay on just that. We had 43 essays submitted to us, and we have 4 winners that are here, all who received Chromebooks from the club. So the ones that are here today, I'd like to call up. We have Samantha Salid from Brownell School. Is she here? Gabrielle Clark from St. Mary's. Alexis Kong from Brownell. Ella Rodriguez, also from Brownell School. And then if Samantha can come up, I'll have her read first. So you're on.
Patriotism is the devoted love, support, and defense of one's country. To me, patriotism means helping to ensure that everybody, no matter their gender, race, or religion, has the opportunity to enjoy the freedoms our nation has to offer. It's about performing acts not just for the well-being of oneself, but for the good of all of our country. Cory Booker, the United States Senator, once said, "Patriotism is love of country, but we can't love our country without loving your countrymen and countrywomen. We don't always have to agree, but we must empower each other, we must find the common ground, we must build bridges across our differences to pursue the common good." I can connect with this quote because this is what I also believe patriotism represents. Patriotism can mean many different things to many different people. Some people may think voting in elections is the way they show patriotism to our country. Other people may think that showing up for jury duty, joining the military, paying taxes, or even just keeping up with political news is the way they show patriotism. I myself take part in some of these acts as well as a way to show patriotism to our country. I help people whenever and however I am able to. Another is I stand up every morning to pledge allegiance to our country. Simple activities like this can allow everyone to show their love and support for our wonderful country. Patriotism is something that is shared among all Americans, and one of the reasons our country is such a powerful nation. It is a bond that all Americans have and something that everyone can show towards our country. It means many things to many different people, but in the end, all of the activities and tasks relate to each other in the same way. They all allow us to show love and loyalty to our country.
Okay, Gabrielle Clark from St. Mary's.
It's amazing our scrappy troops that run the Revolutionary War. Our army was untrained, not well equipped, and we're up against an army who had years of training and better ammunition. However, we had one thing they didn't have: patriotism. Our troops had hope and faith, and with that came a shared vision of the future, filled with unity and people helping other people no matter what. I fulfill that vision by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance daily and doing service for my community. The Pledge of Allegiance means patriotism to me because the words contained in it remind us that we are a united country. to the flag of the United States of America. The flag symbolizes that we are all American and should always come together as a whole. By coming together, we can put aside whatever differences we have and work as a family, with liberty and justice for all. For you and me, fairness and freedom, two major things that can bring people together and find a common ground. Just like many Americans left their homes to serve our country, I try to serve my community. By serving my community, I am able to make a better and stronger tomorrow. When I help at Lord's table, I feed those who need my assistance, just as our soldiers did when we needed them to fight for our freedom. I did shop with a cop and truly saw the effect of my service had on others. During Shop with a Cop, we take those in need of a new school and shop for those with their family. Seeing how I can put a smile on someone's face by allowing them to get new shoes is truly what patriotism is. The Pledge of Allegiance reminds us the reason why America came to be. Community service helps contribute to the common good just as our soldiers did. Patriotism to me is the reason why we won the war and is the reason why we are a strong community.
Next is Alex Kong from Brownell. Maybe you can adjust it a little.
Pride and patriotism. Patriotism, a term that seems simple to understand, truly involves inward reflection. We live in an ever-changing world which often seems divided, so one can't help but wonder what patriotism really means. Patriotism evokes passion, commitment, and dedication throughout one's life to create loyalty to your beliefs and country. Although patriotism is voluntary, it's deeply embedded within all of our core values. Loving your country parallels loving your family and community. You take pride in it and never falter through the challenges that arise. Patriotism provides strength, forming an undeniable force, because we're all Americans, united and proud. America's greatest resource is its people. Throughout history, there have been many patriots, whether known or silent heroes, whose love for their country enabled them to make immense sacrifices for the greater good. Race, religion, or ethnicity do not dictate an individual's sense of patriotism because loyalty and selflessness are limitless. A sense of appreciation resonates within us. Living here is something easily taken for granted, but what goes unnoticed is the people risking their lives every day, serving and protecting us. No matter what your individual definition of patriotism is, we all have the commonality of wanting America to succeed. It is a privilege and an honor to live in this amazing country full of endless opportunities. We're experiencing the lives our ancestors only dreamt about. Patriotism involves strength of character because we can all be agents of change. Even though we are all unique, we are pieces of an interlocking puzzle because our nation isn't just a country. It is a union of strong-willed, independent people connected by common causes and goals. When we love our country and those within it unconditionally, that feeling lives within our souls. To me, patriotism exudes joy and love for our country and its citizens. Love, a force stronger than anything in the universe, cannot be broken. Patriotism is creating a united team because we are all Americans whose mutual respect for each other is undeniable. Patriotism, to me, is the spark that ignites the passion and pride in all of us. Thank you.
And we have one more, Ella Rodriguez from Brownell School.
Patriotism, freedom of decision and pride. Patriotism means having loyalty to your country or having a devoted love for your country. Everyone has a different definition based on their own moral compass and past experiences. We all come from different backgrounds, customs, and beliefs, which create the melting pot culture of America, where we blend together as one. Being a patriot involves making changes and carrying your freedoms and liberties in different ways. Being a patriot sometimes means peacefully standing up for what you and others believe in. America thrives on its inhabitants' beliefs. It is a choice to stand or sit, look up at the waving banner, and decide if that flag defends your liberties and freedoms. If it does not, we are free to peacefully stand up for what we believe is right. These ideals are fought for and shape our culture. Therefore, bringing change to a nation can actually result in making America a more appealing place to live. From its origin to its policy, America is a symbol of freedom, liberty, and prosperity, which carries on to its citizens. When the British taxed us without our input, we took matters into our own hands. Every citizen, young and old, all genders, sexualities, and abilities, cultures, and races fight for freedom each day. Americans have learned to live with a sense of determination and pride that strives for change to create an even more perfect union. Across our country, patriotism is shown in large and small ways at different times. Whether someone is impacting a few lives, a community, a nation, or even the world, it all leads back to that person's beliefs. Patriots of America make change happen and carry a sense of pride while doing so. What changes could you make?
Well, they all did a great job. We were really excited to hear from them. So next on our list is the Book of Golden Deeds Award, which is given in recognition of the quiet good deeds of America's unsung heroes. This year's recipient grew up in Gilroy and has given time to the Garlic Festival for 30 years since being a teenager and has been chair of committees for several. They have sponsored families at Christmas, donated school supplies like backpacks. They have supported sister cities, is one of St. Joseph's kind supporters, attends many community charity events, has volunteered over 20 years to the youth at St. Mary's. This includes teaching religious education, continuing this year as well, leading youth group ministries weekly with teens, took teens to the World Youth Day, where they saw the Pope multiple times, was a director for the yearly youth retreat to Lake Tahoe, took youth to National Youth Conference, created the 24-hour fasting lock-in for teens every year, also taught them random acts of kindness, created the Mexico mission trip in which teens go to build houses for the poor in Mexico. This year will be the 17th year. She has left a legacy of teaching the youth how to give of themselves and basically have a walk the talk attitude to take their faith from words to actions. Has volunteers for Relay for Life, was a team leader, and fundraised to donate to that cause. Created an annual golf tournament to raise money for scholarships in memory of her brother, and I think that's been going on for about 10 years. And we're gonna, Thankfully, she has also somehow had the time to join our club. She is the friend you would call first if stranded at the side of the road, the one that really doesn't want to receive any recognition for what she does. Please come up, Michelle Adams. Thank you, Michelle. Were you surprised? All right. Now we're going to move on to our awards. We're going to start with having Fire Chief Alan Anderson from the Gilroy Fire Department come up to announce our first Blue and Gold recipient for today. Is he here? Oh, there you go.
Good afternoon. I want to start just by thanking the Exchange Club for continuing to host the Blue and Gold Award. This is something we look forward to each and every year, as it gives us not only an opportunity to highlight some of the good work that's going on in our department, but we get to see what all of our public safety partners in South County are doing as well. I'm fortunate to lead a group of people that are highly motivated, so while that would sound to be a good thing, it makes it really tough when it comes time to pick that Blue and Gold Award recipient. Fortunately, this year we were able to narrow it down to firefighter paramedic Thomas Cooper, so I'll have him join me up here now. I'm going to read you the submission that was put in that talked about the good work that Thomas is doing in our community. Thomas has been a firefighter with the Gilroy Fire Department since 2013. During that time, he's demonstrated an unwavering commitment to our community by providing outstanding service. As a paramedic, Thomas understands the importance of prompt, effective intervention during a medical emergency. That intervention is especially important during cardiac events. Studies throughout the world have shown early recognition and appropriate care can significantly impact cardiac patient survivability. One of the ways progressive communities can increase positive outcomes is through access to automatic external defibrillators. These silent sentinels hang in public areas and are ready to use without any formal training. The Gilroy Fire Department's vision is that our community becomes a heart-safe city. We are currently working with the Santa Clara County EMS Agency to establish a countywide program which recognizes the importance of learning CPR and having programs in place to educate the community about sudden cardiac arrest. Working collaboratively with the Gilroy Unified School District, Gilroy Fire presented Superintendent Dr. Flores with a proposal to outfit each school in the district with these life-saving devices. While the initial cost wasn't cheap, Dr. Flores recognized the value these AEDs provide, and the program was implemented. Thomas took on an integral role in getting the AEDs deployed through the district. He developed a monthly testing matrix and checkoff sheet for each location. Additionally, he worked with Cheryl Galloway of the school district to personally train personnel at each location to ensure staff understood the capabilities of the machine and felt confident they could deploy the AEDs when needed. As of today, Thomas has trained over 1,200 employees on the 35 units that are now housed in the Gilroy Unified Schools. Once the school district AED program was fully implemented, he focused on increasing the number of AEDs located around our community. It's through the tireless efforts of individuals like Thomas that we continually strive to increase the safety for our citizens. Today, I'm honored to bring praise and recognition to firefighter-paramedic Thomas Cooper for his efforts in significantly increasing the number of AEDs in our community. Sarah, do you want to take a photo? Oh. Oh, here's. All right, I thought you.
And we'd like to call up Chief Derek Whitmer with California Department of Forestry. Please tell them your name.
Hi, I'm actually not Derek Whitmer. I'm Mike Marcucci. I'm one of Derek's assistant chiefs here for CAL FIRE, also the Morgan Hill Fire Department in the South Santa Clara County Fire District. I'd like to call up Battalion Chief Mike Matheson, Communications Operator Charles Snyder. We're a big agency, we get two. So I'd like to start with Chief Matheson. Excuse me one minute. Chief Matheson entered the fire service in 1992, moving on to get his paramedic license in 1996. He moved to the South County area to work in our South County contract at Morgan Hill and Gilroy areas in 1998, working as an engineer paramedic, a captain paramedic, eventually promoting to the battalion chief of our Alma battalion, which is our Los Gatos and Santa Cruz Mountains area. In that time, he worked on our helicopter program. He worked for the South County Fire Department, as well as the fuels program in the Yagas Creek area, which is kind of an unseen type of a project. Fuels management is very important. If you remember the Loma fire a couple years ago that we had, it really drawed down the resources in the county. We actually lost some homes and burned about 4,500 acres. Chief Matheson was the incident commander of that fire. And knowing that area, I think, helped with the outcome and keep to that fire. While it was large, it could have been much worse. So one of the reasons that the management of the Santa Clara unit decided to give this award to Chief Matheson was the continued excellence in programs that he manages. A lot of programs that you just don't see every day as you see the fire engines and the ladder trucks going down the road. Our firefighter hand crew, he's in charge of that project, doing a lot of fuels management in those areas that are overgrown. Our helicopter program, which is always very visible but takes a lot of work to make happen in a helicopter that's 48 years old. As well as his incident command work on the Loma fire, working with the cooperators in the water district, as well as the county and the sheriff's department to ensure that we had that great outcome. And for over 25 years of continued professional service to the area of South County, we give the award to Battalion Chief Mike Matheson. Don't go anywhere. So to my left is Charles Snyder, who we affectionately call Chopper, which I didn't know his real name was Charles for quite a few years. So I go by Chopper, so bear with me. Chopper entered the fire service in 1986 and started working for Cal Fire, which was then CDF, in 1989. He moved over to our communications operator position in 1997, working in the Santa Cruz, also Monterey areas, as well as his home here in Morgan Hill, where he's been for quite a few years. Chopper has a job that not many see. When you call 911, this is the man that you talk to. It is the unseen part of the fire service, which was probably the most important part that we have. That was our dispatchers, our communications operators in those 911 centers. Working out of the Morgan Hill Command Center, Chopper's primary job is to not only answer the phone and provide assistance to those on the phone, but also to get those resources that we need, that aircraft that we use to put out those large fires, and to be that calm voice on the other end when you're having your worst day you've ever had. This is the man that you speak to. I've had the great privilege of working with Chopper for just about 11 years, and as well as Mike, so I can say with all certainty that without Chopper's guidance, we can't get to you. So it really, truly is probably the most important job that we have when you're having that emergency. Some of Chopper's responsibilities that are extremely important, he's our CAD administrator, and our computer-aided dispatch, that's our mapping system. So when you call 911, your house pops up on our map, and it'll tell us which is the closest engine to get to you and how to get there. Without that information, we can't get to your home. So it is extremely important work. It is extremely long hours sitting in front of an extremely large computer monitor for hours on end. So for that, we thank him. Management of the Santa Clara unit decided to give Chopper this award because we just don't believe that the dispatcher, the communications operator position is recognized enough by the public. They just don't understand, I think, because you don't see those folks. You just talk to them on the phone, and so it's a hugely important position. So for well over 30 years, Chopper Snyder's been delivering excellent customer service to the citizens of South County as well as the state of California. So for that, we present him that award. Before we present that award, though, I'd like to take a moment. There's even a bigger foundation that I'd like to recognize. Chopper and Mike's wives, Corey and Terry, and Mike's children. Tracy, did I say Terry? I'm sorry, Tracy. I have my glasses on. Oh yeah, it says Tracy. I apologize. And Mike's daughters, which I guarantee I will not screw up, Miranda and Hannah, that are also here as well. In Cal Fire, as well as the other fire services and law enforcement agencies that are here, the husbands and wives are away for extended periods of time. It is not a family-friendly occupation. And so I'd like to take a moment and thank not only these families, but all of the families that are here today for your patience and your support of these community heroes that we honor today. Without that, I don't believe these fine men and women can do their job to the success that they have. So thank you. And to Chopper, 30 years of customer service to the citizens of South County, we present you this award.
Where are they going? We gotta get Mike in here too. Just the two of you? Okay, sure. And then we'll do a group. We're gonna have another. No.
Playing with the blondes here.
Is that okay, Carlos?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call up Lieutenant Alanizi, Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office.
Good afternoon. I'm Fred Alaniz, and I've had the privilege of supervising Deputy Nick Carlin this past year. Deputy Nick Carlin, can you come on up, please? Before I tell you how great Deputy Carlin is, I think everyone should know that when Nick was younger, he wanted to become a firefighter. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm only saying it because thankfully he became a deputy sheriff instead. We're really happy to have him. When he was in college working toward his bachelor degree to become a firefighter, he had the same work ethic that made him stand out in the crowd then as much as he does now. While most college students take 12 to 15 units per semester, that wasn't good enough for Nick. He decided to take 28 units in a semester. He actually did that twice. And he passed all his classes. It's that work ethic that makes him so valuable to South County. Nick is always looking for ways to be a more valuable deputy, be it by being a part of specialized teams or taking advanced training courses. If there is a course you can think of, Nick has probably already taken it. As for specialized team, Nick is on our CERT team. That's our Sheriff's Emergency Response Team, which is a SWAT team. On top of that, he's also an auxiliary member of our MET team. That's our Marijuana Eradication Team. As part of that unit, he's investigated illegal cultivation cases and serious fish and game violations such as illegal dumping of toxic waste matter into our state waterways. As a patrol deputy, Nick keeps South County safe by always being extremely proactive. Although Nick does everything well, the Sheriff's Office would like to acknowledge Deputy Carlin for his actions on September 17th, 2017. On that date, the South County law enforcement community experienced a tragic event when a CHP officer, James Brannick, was killed in a motorcycle accident. Deputy Carlin was driving back to our substation to go off duty when he drove up on the unreported and just occurred accident. He initially thought it was just a disabled vehicle blocking the roadway, but quickly discovered that it was an accident involving a downed motorcyclist. Deputy Carlin immediately notified our dispatch center so that emergency medical personnel could respond to assist. While he waited, Deputy Carlin completed 3 rounds of CPR on Officer Brannick. When medical personnel arrived, Deputy Carlin continued to assist by serving as the on-scene incident commander, assisting with traffic control. Deputy Carlin remained poised and professional during an extremely difficult incident, and that is why I'm honored to recommend this Blue and Gold Award to Deputy Carlin.
Now I'd like to call up Captain Scott Parker, CHP.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank the Exchange Club for inviting us here today and handing out all these well-deserved awards. Also to Old City Hall for hosting us here and providing such a fine meal. Thank you very much. Also to each and every one of you for coming out today to honor all of the awardees. I'm here today to honor my Public Information Officer, Chris Maselli. Chris, would you come up, please? So while providing public information is actually in his job duties, Chris takes these interactions with the community to a whole new level. One of those reasons is because Chris lives right here in Gilroy. He truly cares and wants to have a positive impact on our community. And secondly, he's extremely dedicated to saving lives. One of the most influential programs that Chris is involved with is Impact Teen Drivers. And over the last couple of years, I've had the opportunity to go out to Gavilan College. It's just one of the places that this is put into play and see it firsthand. This program brings the parents of teens killed in vehicle accidents, brings them into a classroom full of teens, and the whole idea is to change their driving behavior because statistics say that they're the most likely to get killed in an automobile accident. He's been very persistent in getting into some of these high schools. Some of them have not been extremely open, and Chris almost always gets his way in the end. And the whole message is to have that impact on these teens. Hopefully they change their driving habits, and it does save lives. Speaking of lives saved, some of the other programs that Chris goes out into the local community, mainly high schools, the Every 15 Minutes program. If anyone has ever attended one of those are extremely moving and, again, designed to change behaviors, save the lives of our young people. Start Smart programs, again, towards teen drivers. And then on the other spectrum is Age Well Drive Smart for the older drivers about the time that we need to take licenses away. All of these are designed to get out into the community and have a very impactful message. Chris doesn't just stop with a law enforcement message, though. His desire is to reach all segments of the community. He was instrumental in starting Day at the Ranch. Just happened last Saturday. Some of you probably saw it in the newspaper. It gets special needs children and adults out onto a ranch to interact with animals. Might be some of the only times that they get that sort of interaction. Brings the whole community together. We had 300 people last weekend out at this event. He's also the president of our local squad club. Through this organization, I heard one of the essayists talk about Shop with a Cop. And that's one of the things that Chris has started. It's for underprivileged children, partners with Kohl's department stores, and our squad club, and it pairs a law enforcement officer with one of these kids, and they go shopping for school clothes and school supplies. He's also started the Kids Christmas Party for fire and law enforcement personnel. We do that at the scales. All the children get to see Santa. You come in on the fire truck, which is always a big hit. A good time is had by all at those events. June 2nd this year, the chili cook-off, police versus fire. Hopefully everybody's got a team out there. This event allows some friendly competition, but also it allows the community to engage with our public servants in a way that is very unique. All of the proceeds for this go to Operation Freedom Paws, which is a veteran service organization. So one of the last things I want to talk about is Seats for Treats. He does out at Gilroy Gardens theme park. We do a car seat checkup event. It's something where the community can come, have their car seats checked. If there's an issue with it, we have car seats that we can replace, old outdated car seats, and each family that comes and gets a car seat check gets a free admission to the park. And it's just another way to save lives. These are just a few of the events that Chris has instituted since he's been the public information officer. There's no way to determine how many lives that he's saved through all of these programs. They all have a huge impact on our community, but that's exactly what Chris is focused on, how best to serve the community and provide the safest environment possible. So please join me in thanking Chris for all he does to save lives and service our community.
I'd like to call up Police Chief Scott Smithy, Gilroy PD.
Can't wait till Mark walks back up and tries to use this again. Now, a few people made a comment to me about how they couldn't believe Mark was giving me a hard time about having my truck stolen. But trust me, it's all in good jest. You know, we've gone back and forth on each other for many topics over many years. And really, this event happened right after yesterday's event where we had to investigate him for the potential destruction of property because he was trying to be funny at the Rotary Club yesterday. So he held out the Rotary Club's microphone and did the drop it on the floor. Well, it's not his microphone. It belongs to the Rotary Club. So we had to go investigate it to make sure, you know, what the damage was and what the cost was going to be. But after investigating, we found there was absolutely no damage because when he held it out and dropped it, it only fell 18 inches. And imagine how surprised he's going to be when he goes out to his car tonight and finds it's missing. All right, so now we're going to get serious. The real business that we're here. And the officer we're recognizing this year is Officer Jason Greathead. And so, Jason, you get to come stand up on the stage with me. And he is tall. He's just, so, you know, it's, we get a lot of different recommendations and look at a lot of different things every year when we're going to do this. And, you know, I remember Jason when he was in the police academy, because I teach in the police academy. In fact, there was an event that happened in the police academy that drew my attention to him, which is one of the reasons that I paid attention to the application when we were considering him to be hired. And when we hired him, from that day forward, he's been extremely proactive. You know, you just have certain people that come into this business, they're like the Energizer Bunny. You can't turn them off. They're just out there, go, 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 go. And Jason is one of those people. And so there's three different things that came to light in the recommendations when we were looking at a person for today's award. And the first I want to talk about is, at the end of last year, we were having a string of armed robberies in this town. Like I had not seen in the 34 years since I started. We just had one after the other after the other. And the week after Christmas, we had 4 armed robberies in 1 week, which for us is a lot. That's a lot. And on December 29th, we had an armed robbery at a pizza place up on First Street in Gilroy. And the guy was able to get away. He had a gun, and you know, I mean, these are serious. All of those armed robberies were with weapons. And when they looked at the videotape, because they had the surveillance cameras there, they got a description of the vehicle and somewhat a description of the driver. And we've got all this technology these days where you use computers and you use a lot of stuff to try to figure things out. But no matter how much technology we have, sometimes it just takes good old-fashioned police work. And so Jason spent the rest of that evening checking parking lots. And so he's checking a parking lot on the northeast side of town at it was the Garlic City Casino, I think is where you were. And what's he spot but a car that looks similar to the car that was in the surveillance video. And then he spots a guy that looks similar to the guy that was in the car that was in the pizza parlor. And so as he's coordinating some officers to try to do a high-risk stop, that individual was able to take off in his car and we had to initiate a vehicle pursuit. And it went from Gilroy over to Hollister, and then we called our friends at the Highway Patrol, and the Highway Patrol actually took that pursuit over for us, and they chased around Hollister for a while in various outlying areas, and eventually made their way back to 101. And they got a few flat tires along the way, thanks to some spike strips. But he was able to make it up to San Martin, and we were ultimately able to take him into custody successfully. But the story just doesn't end with the good police work on trying to look for the person and then actually finding him. It carries on in the further follow-up investigation that goes forward. And as a result of the additional investigation, what he was able to do is tie this guy to robberies that occurred in Gilroy, Hollister, Monterey County, and the city of San Jose. So this guy was a prolific armed robber. And the armed robberies that we were having in town were getting increasingly more violent. You know, from showing a gun to hitting people to firing the gun inside one of the stores. The guy fired the gun inside the store. So this was definitely somebody we wanted to get off of the streets. Now, that's a single event, but the other thing I want to talk a little bit about is DUIs, because DUIs has always been near and dear to my heart. I worked Avoid the 13 DUI patrol for many, many years myself. And Jason is being awarded this year the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers Award for DUI enforcement. This last year he had 30 DUI arrests on his own. And so that's a separate recognition, but certainly falls into the mix of the quality of work that he does. The other thing that he does is got a passion for is stolen vehicles. So if anybody has any doubt as to why he's getting this award now. It's been a rough week. The stolen vehicle epidemic, as I know better than most, is just out of control, and our stolen vehicle rate here in town has just gone crazy this year. But this is something that Jason's also passionate about, and in this last year, he recovered 30 stolen vehicles. And many of those were occupied, so they came with people, which is always better than just the vehicle itself. So he's gotten 6 different awards now for working stolen vehicles, getting high numbers of stolen vehicles back and suspects in custody for those crimes. And a little bit, a side note on a personal side is I actually know Jason's parents very well. And they're sitting right there, Dennis and Joanne, his mom and dad. And I also read his background investigation when we first hired him. And I know that he might not have been as great a person as he is today if it wasn't for some very strong parenting skills. And it starts at home, and so I want to recognize them too, because they did a great job raising somebody to have a really good work ethic. So anyway, I think I've said enough. I think that the type of work he does, the type of incidents that he gets involved in, the quality and quantity certainly qualifies him for this recognition. So thank you very much, Jason.
While they're getting the picture, I'm going to just take the credit for hiring them.
Okay, Carlos. Okay, thank you.
just have one last thing. We have a Blue and Gold Veteran of the Year, which I'm going to call up retired Captain Roy Shackle of Gilroy Fire and an active member of Gilroy Exchange Club to present this award.
Thank you, Lisa. Frank Louis Mazzoni was born in a house on Rucker Avenue here in Gilroy on October 29, 1922, to his parents Clorinda Sartor Mazzoni and Salvatore Mazzoni. Frank was a loving big brother to Louis, Salvatore, and Richard. Frank attended the Rucker School, St. Mary's, and the Gilroy Union High School. He enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve in San Francisco on October 14, 1942. He attended boot camp at Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. Frank became an assistant cook and received honors for his sharpshooting. Now, this is significant in that the primary job of all Marines is that of a rifleman. In November 1943, Mazzoni was a member of Headquarters Company, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marine Division, which landed against stiff resistance on the small island of Betio in the Tarawa Atoll of the Gilbert Islands in an attempt to secure that island. Over several days of intense fighting at Tarawa, approximately 1,000 Marines and sailors were killed and more than 2,000 were wounded, but the enemy was virtually annihilated. It was on November 21st when Frank, barely 21 years old, perished. As at the time he was not accurately identified, he was interred at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific, the Punch Bowl, in Oahu, Hawaii, with other unidentified fallen heroes. On August 29, 2017, modern testing methods led to the positive identification of Frank's mortal remains. After 75 years, Private First Class Frank Mazzoni was accounted for and brought home. He was laid to rest with full military honors at Gavilan Hills Memorial Park on November 18, 2017. Frank is survived by his only living brother, Richard Mazzoni of Gilroy, Richard's adult children, and many nieces and nephews. The Gilroy Exchange Club is proud to recognize the sacrifice of Marine Corps veteran Frank Mazzoni with this Blue and Gold Award, and would like to invite his niece, Clorinda Sergi, to come forward and accept this token of our respect and gratitude.
Thank you all. Congratulations to all the honorees today. On behalf of the Mazzoni family, we are deeply honored to receive this honor today. We were deeply touched by all the agencies who were involved in the motorcade as we came back from the airport on the overpasses. We'd like to thank all of you for your participation, and that will do it. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we sure appreciate you being here today. If you would please visit and like the Exchange Club Facebook page. Many of the pictures taken here today will be on that page, so please do take the time to visit and like that page. Well, on behalf of the Exchange Club, those here today, and the community at large, we would like to thank our award recipients for all that you do to keep South County residents safe. Thank you also to our firefighters and law enforcement personnel for your sacrifice, dedication, and commitment to South County. God bless you guys. Have a good day.